Welcome to the United States of America podcast, everybody. I am your host, Niti and we are broadcasting live from the Food Church here on North Carolina. If you've missed past episodes, please be sure to take the time to watch the first episode and watch the rest like a documentary. We are people at peace, and we have declared peace to all nations around the world. This is not a marketing or a promotional channel. We're shining a light on knowledge that is being hidden from you, and we're sharing the truth about your birthright and your inheritance. We have moderators who are assisting in the comment section. Please be kind and self govern. And if you have any questions, please put them in all caps and only enter them once per show. I am joined on air today with Jayme Morgan on Bonneville. And Jayme, welcome. Welcome to the podcast today. And you guys, I'm so excited that Jayme and I get to dive into natural health care. Right, Jayme?
I'm excited. Thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you so much for making time to join me. In the little bit of time that we have had the pleasure of getting to know each other, you guys, one of the things that Jayme and I figured out real quick is that we both had a journey that taught us that there's this hamster wheel. It's called the centralized system. It's the corporatocracy. And it is keeping us enslaved. And if you can get off of this hamster wheel, you can cure all that ails you. What do you think, Jayme?
Oh, 100%. In my own journey, it was exactly that. Locked into everything, the beliefs, all of it. And I was so sick and unhealthy. And there was no way to move forward. And I had to unravel, whether that's a piece by piece or dive in with all of it, whatever you can do. You got to break it down and slowly take it down to the bare beginning of being an actual free American, which is back to when you were born. And you were born here like that. You were born already there. And then everything comes in and feeds your brain and your body and starts to poison all of it and be controlling. And you can't even embrace the 528 of anything that they're talking about. You cannot embrace energy or anything until you break all that away. And that is exactly like you said, getting off that wheel, no longer believing that, and becoming pure again through steps that a lot of us are going to have to take or have been taking to get there.
Yeah, you and I were talking, and I was telling Jayme, I said, for me, it was that I had to realize that I am capable of knowing things, because the corporatocracy wants everyone to operate in a belief system. They want you to be believers. And there's, in the believing system, there's your truth and my truth and his truth. And, this is all a lie. And the way that the universal laws operate, morality is aligned with the truth, and immorality is aligned with lies. And you can't even walk the line, because if you pretend to be, fair and balanced, then you're lying. And, in the Bible, it says something about, you can't be warm in the mouth. You got to be hot or cold, and everywhere it says it over and over again. Yes or no. Yes or no. True or false. True or false. We don't need all the blah, 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 blah. It's just true or false. But the corporatocracy likes to bring a cloud of chaos and confusion and drama and theater. And yeah, we're just,
they can only feed it though. That's why, because if they feed the drama and they feed the anxiety and they feed all these things, I was talking to my kids and my husband about this. There's all this slang even that goes into it. I was rage baited and all these things that are being termed as the proper emotional talk that is continuing to keep them locked there, and that they made me angry. Well, that's great. But part of self-governing is self-regulation. If you cannot regulate your emotions because you have these beliefs and perceptions from the time you were small, again, brainwashed into you, indoctrinated into you, and all that above you, you cannot self-govern and you cannot break free of it. And they want to keep you there. So they make it normal. And they make it part of it.
It's the blame game, right? They want you to be involved in blaming and shaming. Blaming and shaming. Who can
Mhm.
you blame or who do you shame? It's a constant thing, right?
Well, if you continue to blame yourself, then you live in the fear of my words aren't right, my truth isn't real, feelings, whatever that looks like. And then what I learned with myself is so much of that self-shaming, self-hate, self-whatever is internalized, which guess what that leads to? Sickness. Okay. And you're sick.
Traps the energy.
Yep. And then you're taking medications that lead to more, which leads to more medications. And then you're eating all the crap that they're giving you. So now what do you have? The perfect storm for a body that cannot think, cannot function, cannot heal, and definitely cannot self-govern. You'll be a hot mess. You just can't. I mean, to the true actual wording of that, you will not be able to move forward. And I personally had a complete collapse to where I was basically paralyzed. When that finally hit the wall, I couldn't even walk. And at that point, what do? I finally, for myself, decided I need to unravel all of this and really find what that means. And what does that look like to get off that wheel so that I was no longer trapped into that world. Literally like the Matrix, literally like all the things we talk about. That's where I was.
I mean, that's what we're doing when we're establishing or reconstructing the government. All we're doing is, as it was bound, we're unbinding it. And it sounds to me like when you found yourself on the floor, you had to unbind the thread, right? You had to take it backwards and get yourself loose of that thread that was holding you. It's like a chain around your neck on this wheel, and you can't get off of this doggone wheel. So I don't know. Are you interested in sharing some of your escape off of the wheel?
Yeah, I definitely can. So what tightened that wheel, what that tightened that chain for me a little bit harder was hard. Of course, my collapse was during the COVID time when things were already shut down. I was already trying to pay bills. I was a single mom. Things were already probably to the ultimate max, emotionally and internal and external, just all of it, right? So I felt like my only option was to start medication to get me on my feet to provide for my family. And I believed at the time, my perception and my belief were joined that I had no other way out. So I ended up on one medication that led to another, that led to another. And after the collapse, I ended up with internal bleeds from medication and I was hospitalized. I almost died. I mean, I didn't just have a few little things going on. I was probably down at the worst. I share that only because I want people to know that you can think you have no way out and be at the worst. And I want to tell you, I'm right here to show you, I'm on not absolute one medication. I was on 16. 16. Okay. They had me on everything from mental medication to heart medication to you name it. They had it. But of course, every one of them led to another symptom, which led to another one. Okay. Well, I obviously felt worse than better. Yeah, I could probably walk a little bit and I was functioning, but I was just barely functioning. And I went back to what I finally faced myself and I was like, okay, might be a long road, but how do I start to purify my mind and my body to get where I need to be? The number one thing that led me first there, I will tell you, is learning how to live in the now. Because we are taught to live in the past. We're taught to live in the what ifs. We're taught to live in the emotions and all these things. And I had to bring it back to this very moment at any given day and start to survive one step at a time. I read a really good book that helped me get there. And it was so interesting to me. The first thing he said was, to start living in the now, you need to stand, go outside, go up and down your steps like 3 or 4 times, and actually focus on what it feels like. Okay, you feel really silly doing this. I'm not going to lie. I'm walking up and down these steps. I'm like, okay, my foot feels like this. My knee feels like this. The air feels like this. But the reason it's weird is because your mind's already going to all these things all the time, always going to the worst case scenario, always going to the negative, always going to what are people thinking. It's never just back to focus on where we're at. So you have to retrain your brain of what right now is happening in this moment. When I'm eating my food, how does it taste? How does it feel? And the very first thing was learning, because I didn't even know how. Living on pure adrenaline, fight or flight, survival mode, all those things was all I knew and all that they'd forced upon me to live in. So that was the first step, was definitely just being present in the moment. That evolved into journal work. Some people call it shadow work, going through past experiences and beliefs and perceptions to break away from some of those ties. Really quick, I'll just share a really quick idea for you, for people to listen to. Beliefs and perceptions. I went to a person who taught me this, and she said to me at one point, there's a mom on the phone, and her little boy comes up to her and says, can I have a cookie? And she said, yes, you can have a few cookies when I get off the phone. He follows her around, and she keeps talking on the phone, and he's getting frustrated because he really wants a cookie. So she had told him he could have more than a couple cookies. While they're still on the phone, she finally opens up the cookies and she gives him one cookie. That little boy walks away and he's upset. She said, I could have more than one cookie. Why did I only get one cookie? At that moment, he can either feel like my mom doesn't think I deserve cookies, my mom lied to me about how many cookies, or whatever it is. You want to know what the reality was about the cookies? She only had one to give. It was empty cookie jar, but she didn't share that with him. She just let him go on with the belief that I was cut off or I wasn't good enough for more than one cookie. But now that little child grows up with this belief, and we turn those, and that's kind of just a different kind of story to just break down what perceptions lead to in beliefs, do an emotional thing. And these are the things that go all the way back to our childhood that we have to unravel and work through so that we aren't, I'll use those words, rage baited, triggered, whatever you want to say, because that's what it does. Those perceptions and beliefs lead to those. And if we're not in the moment and unraveling those from our past to be able to move forward, we can't.
You know, can I add something to that?
100%.
What I learned about that was that I had to stop doing it. Mm-hmm. I had to stop going to the past. I was sharing a story about what had happened to us when our daughter died. And I was sharing it with parents to explain to them how I learned what I learned, to know what I know, to be able to help them, make these specific decisions. And what it was doing was killing me. Because mm-hmm. when you are constantly going backwards, when your feet are facing forward, is you turn to salt. So you can't keep doing that. And one of the things about what Jayme's talking about is a release. It is a forgiveness. It is a letting go. And it's one thing to do the shadow work, to release it, to write it, burn it, and let it go, or something of that nature. But if you just do that every day, or you do that going on and on and on, you are never going to get out of it. And it will literally consume you. Mm-hmm. And so this is something we have to be really careful of, because there's a lot of folks who are profiteering on going back. Yeah. And going back and going back. But there is a moment where you have to reparent yourself and say, oh, my mom did that because she only had one cookie, not because she hated me.
Exactly.
But you can also just choose to say, my mom, Anna actually said this yesterday. Anna said, I was abused by my mother because she didn't know any better, because she treated me the way she was treated. Mm-hmm. And when we look at our parents, I can clearly look at my mom and what went on in her life. And I can look at my husband's mom and dad and what his life was like and how it turned out differently and why. Mm-hmm. And as a grown-up who's self-governing, I can forgive her, let it go, never need her to know about it or talk about it with her, and move on.
Well, that's kind of how that works, to release it. And it's just like you said, it's energy, right? We're all energy. Energy, right. When you keep going backwards or focus on that only thing, and then you continue to repeat it. So again, the child that didn't feel good enough, if he repeats that through his whole life, That's where energy draws. So everything pulls to him and he believes he's always not good enough. When we, like you said, accept that these things happen, but now I can self-govern, let go and move forward, and I can move positively, then that's the energy you're going to feed. That you're going to be better, you're going to be different, and separate yourself from the others and their reactions. That's why energy is so important. And that's why Anna talks about it. I mean, we're made of it. It's just a huge deal. And it's a real thing. And that goes back to all that we've encompassed in this global movement as Americans and free people, is it's all about energy, because that's what we have to be feeding with each other.
Yes, and why we need to raise that frequency. And this, what we're describing, what Jayme just outlined, and what I was sharing with her too about it, this is reparenting. The thing that everybody calls shadow work and all these things, you're reparenting, because you got to look at it now like, oh, she only had one cookie. Oh, well, that was all she could do. She could have made other better choices. Like, why would she just neglecting me? You know, we all can prioritize our young people and, you know, treat them better now that we know what it meant to us. And like Anna says, right? Like, we got to stop lying. All the little lies. The confusion for the baby at that moment was, am I not good enough for the cookie? You know, all these various things about the cookie. Well, all we can do is be better going forward with our progeny, right? And say to them, hey, look, I only have one cookie and I have to be on the phone right now. I'm working. Okay. And so I need you to take this one cookie that I have and then go outside and play or whatever. And
well, not
I'm
to
going
stop lying to them, but stop lying to ourselves.
right. Like, just be honest about whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, this is a really big Jayme, can we please talk about all the little lies?
Oh goodness, where do you want to start?
We need to give people examples. I think, like, one of the examples I use a lot is, you know, here in North Carolina, we're getting sprayed to death. And a whole bunch of people are like, oh, North Carolina, you know, I'm from wherever, but North Carolina, the weather here seems so bipolar. No, do you not see those planes up there manipulating the weather? This isn't bipolar weather. That's literally somebody doing something to interfere with the natural state of our whole earth here, and that's affecting the weather. So we can just, you know, at least know that. We can know it. We don't have to believe anything, you know. We don't have to argue about it. We can see the planes. So let's stop lying. When people make these comments now, if they say that in front of me, I have to correct them. If I don't correct them, I am tacitly agreeing to the contrary.
Well, you participate in the lie. It's the same thing with food. Okay.
Yes.
So one of the other parts of the healing is going to be what you're putting in your body to raise your vibration. And I'm the first one to admit that I love sugar. Not going to lie. Like, sugar is probably one of my hardest things. But I've also learned that it's okay to be honest with myself. If I love sugar, I can still indulge in that in moderation or to an amount, allow myself, because otherwise then I start living in those lies again of I'm a horrible person or I'm going to be fat or whatever that looks like that I've been taught that if I eat this, it's going to cause this, right? Which then also controls the amount that I need. If it's free for me to be honest with myself, I love chocolate, I'm going to have a couple squares, even if I want it every day. But guess what? I'm not going to then go through the thought process that leads to the lying of myself and the breakdown of then overindulging on a binge day and making myself sick over it. Okay. So this goes back to the other part of curing your body is what's going into it as vibration. And so if as a whole, as a 90% of the time, you can make good food decisions, what is that? And find for yourself and your body, what is your truth for food? Some people feel better vegetarian. Some people feel better only meat. But as long as you're picking it for what's for your body and not what you're being told, right? From all these different things of what should or shouldn't be going in your body, you know, your body tells you what it needs. And again,
well, yeah, I would just add to what you're saying. It's not about what you choose to eat, but is this real? That's my
No,
question.
yeah,
For
definitely.
most people, my question is this, okay? Can you grow it in your backyard in North Carolina? I'm on North Carolina, right? You're on Idaho. If I
Yes.
can grow it in the backyard, then I can eat it. That's kind of one of my rules. One of my rules is like, for my family, because I personally just do better on more meat. Okay. But
Yes.
but in the house, we have vegetables, we have fruits seasonally. It's only from something from our if I can't grow it here on North Carolina, because like on North Carolina, I don't know if you don't know this, Jayme, but we don't have bananas here. Okay. So
We don't in Idaho either.
yeah. So because we don't have bananas in my house. Okay. We just don't have them. We don't have anything if you can't grow it here.
Well,
So
there's a
if,
huge connection of why that happens. People that live
well,
in certain areas need certain things in their environment. That's why their environment is what it is there and different where somebody else might be. And I only use the examples of different things for different bodies because again, some people I know like feel really good eating only certain things. Again, and I definitely mean clean eating. I don't mean processed. You can't be motivated to only eat, Cheerios and SpaghettiOs and think you're going to be okay. So that's probably not a modest thing that your body is telling you to do. But
right.
in reality, some days you may feel like maybe you're craving more carb type thing because you're low energy. You need to listen to that. But what's a good carb energy that you need?
Well,
Real
what
food.
is growing? Okay. How about this?
Yeah.
On North Carolina, we only have strawberries for a few weeks every year. It's only for a few weeks. And sometimes when they're spraying a lot, it's like 2 weeks. Like they're messing it up. Okay. So there are not a lot of fruits.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to eat them because you can't grow them here. That's my point. It's called a circadian mismatch.
Yes.
So anything that can grow in your area, like your backyard, at this, as seasonally appropriate right now, like even if you're not growing it, if you go to, this is the reason why it's more important to support a farmer's market or a
Right.
farmer, because if they're not growing it locally, why are you eating it? Because we're actually very advanced. Our body is a very advanced technology, and
Mm-hmm.
our eyes are like a solar panel. And when we look at the sky, then our body knows exactly what the longitude and latitude of where we are is. And it knows I shouldn't be eating a banana here because it doesn't match
Mm-hmm.
where I'm at. And so whatever is in a banana is more than what you think, because people don't know what bananas are actually made of, you know?
Well, it's okay. So in Idaho, we have a growth season. It's like same thing, tiny.
Mhm.
Okay. And even
Mhm.
then, we pretty much predominantly grow potatoes in Idaho. Okay. Meat and
Right.
potatoes is the main staple. But again, seasonally, so again, that means during the winter time when it's cold and you're hunkered down and your body needs to stay stabilized, meat and potatoes and root vegetables are going to be your main source because that's what's available. Either
Here
one, because
too.
you could store it,
Yeah.
that like the farmers did, they grew it for the season and stored it for the winter, but it lasts in their cellars, and that's probably okay to have throughout that cold season. And
Yep.
then when the farmers are able to do farmers markets, then you're able to do tomatoes and lettuce and all those different things. And that brings it in. But again, during that time, they're working outside, they're in the sun, they're out doing like producing more energy to burn off. And those nutrients in that particular season is going to be provided for you during the food. So if you even
Right.
look back to the ancestors of what they did when, that makes total sense. They ate meat and probably barely anything else all winter, but they
Yep.
also weren't out exerting energy that they might need those other things for, that they can gather berries and whatever in the spring and summer.
Well, they
So
needed more minerals in the winter. That's what
yeah,
you get
which
out of the meat.
get from certain
You
foods.
Well, you
Yes.
can definitely get it from meat. You definitely can get it from bone broth. They used to
Yeah.
stew everything. They used to use the whole animal. So all the bones were in a pot stewing over the fire all the time. There was constant bone broth, you know? And so that's mineral dense. And That's all you need is meat and salt.
So the clean eating and the water is huge for bringing up that vibration. Along with that, the internal healing, knowing truth. These are all ways that you heal yourself. And the emotional part and all that truth is definitely there because, like you said, if it's locked inside, it's bringing on the physical ailments that are locked in. And then it's just like you said, it's one giant mess. It continues to feed itself in a circle if you don't start to get off that and break it apart layer by layer. So, and I want to encourage people to not be overwhelmed or scared to do it. There's plenty of us out here. Obviously, they're willing to help break it down and share experiences and show you how to make those steps. But again, it's not just another thing out there that somebody else is trying to convince you to do. It's just truth there. That is truth. You know, if you go back to what's real and what's created by our earth and all that, that is, you can't get more real than that. You really can't.
No. I mean, if you can't find it, if a farmer can't grow it around you, then because it's not even that you have to do it. I mean, you can do it, but if you aren't wanting to do it or can't have space to do it or time or whatever, if you find anybody around you and you just, first of all, you're supporting another living man or woman. That's number one. And that's what we want to do.
Of course.
Yeah. The other thing that's cool about the farming community is most of them will love for you to pay them in silver.
Yeah.
That's another part of it. Okay. So you can use sound money to pay them.
You can also barter and trade.
You can barter and trade energy. You can talk to them about what it is that you can do. I bet Chad could be a good plumber for them and help them with a couple of things and have a nice little credit on their ledger, you know.
Oh, we've traded for cows. We've traded for meat. Like that's definitely something we can do. Sometimes when we have a garden and everyone else has a garden, we've traded. I have this vegetable, you have that vegetable. Like it is definitely the way to go. Like it's awesome because we're able to help each other. In fact, we have some work being done this fall and we just almost forgot we had took on 2 more pigs and don't have room. And so we have a friend doing some woodwork for us and he wants pigs. So there we go. He'll do the woodwork for us. We'll do the pig, you know, and again, it's all local grown. It's all pure grown, amazing stuff. It's how we source, but this is just a huge part of all of you out there that I know are struggling like I did, where you felt like you could not get out of bed, you're hurting, you're just so at your max, emotionally overwhelmed, or you can't seem to understand. Anna, I actually talked to somebody yesterday and she sat on my couch and made me really open my eyes. And she was like, I feel like I can't even understand.
Yeah.
I don't get what they're saying. And I said, well, first of all, you're trapped in understanding, right? So you're underneath, but you also are not seeing it because there's more going on. This wasn't about her ability or her intellect. It was about being so brainwashed or so incorporated in whatever it is stuck, even though she desperately wanted out. She didn't even know where to begin. And I actually just looked at her and I said, I don't think this even belongs with you finding truth in the assembly yet. I think it's about finding truth within yourself and purifying who you're going through so that you can get rid of so much of what's blocking you. Yeah. That roadblock is stopping you from moving forward. It's stopping all of our assemblies. If people cannot grow, see, and understand, we can't as a group, right? We're being blocked because we're so full of these lies and beliefs and poisons. And I think that was why I was so passionate about sharing some of this, is I really feel like our people need more than just, this is what you deserve to have, this is what it should be, you know, and the history part of it. They need the how to. And even to absorb that, they got to filter all that out to be able to even get the clean water and get the clean in there and understand what's being said to them.
Comprehend it. You can't comprehend when you've got heavy metals in your brain and it's all calcifying everywhere and your joints are calcifying and everything and you're not moving, you can't move and you can't, breathe. So it matters. All this stuff is very important. I mean, you need, distilled water. You need to, restructure it. We could have a whole episode on water. I studied water for 2.5 years. And I mean, there's a lot to talk about with all of these aspects. And so I don't know, Jayme, I mean, I would really love to be able to come with you. And, I don't know how often we can do that, but let's do it. Let's help everybody. They need actionable things to do. That are simple, because listen, y'all, you're not stupid. you haven't done anything wrong. You've been like all the rest of us. We were all, you know, raised by these parents that were abusive because they were abused. They didn't know any better either. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what else to do. But I think it's fascinating that you said that you had too many pigs and somebody else needed a pig, because y'all, this is how energy works.
Oh
Is
yeah.
that they needed something to, they had extra whatever, something, but then they had to be like, why do we have these pigs? This must be for somebody. I don't know. Then they met somebody who needed the pigs, and then they needed to get some extra work. So see, there's always a trade. There's always somewhere, when you are a good mover of energy, then the energy always comes and flows with you.
But if you're not blocked to seeing that next thing, like if we were just like kind of like in our own world and was like, oh, so-and-so wants some woodwork, and not paying attention that so-and-so said they needed pig, right? We wouldn't have noticed or paid attention, and we would have still been figuring out where to put our pig. But those same people are also doing the same thing I'm talking about. They've been going through their changes on their journey. And so again, brought back together, right? Bringing that energy around. And that's so important, because that's how it works. It's how it evolves, and paying attention. One of my kids and I were talking about a story that they read, and it was talking about when bad things happen, do you look at the bad thing that happened or the good thing that came after? Okay. So, I mean, I wish I had even thought about this beforehand, because I know I'm not going to tell this story because I'll mess it up. So something just similar to it was like, okay, I broke my leg, and I'm totally focused on the fact that I broke my leg and I can't play sports or whatever. Well, then maybe that sports team was traveling, and the whole team, something happened. You couldn't go because you had a broken leg, and you're focused on the broken leg, but that broken leg saved your life. So these are things we need to think about. It goes back to energy and care, that just because something happens doesn't mean it's the all ends all with the bad part of it. There's a good thing coming. Something's happening for a reason. I shared that with my daughter recently. They were driving in a truck, and her boyfriend's truck broke down. She went to pick him up. They're driving home, and this giant turkey like slaughters their windshield. Okay. And they had to pull over, but they were in a time stop 2 different times on a same road. I told her, I bet you there was something else down that road that would have been way worse than a broken windshield and a broke down truck. Guarantee it. That saved them. Things happen like that for a reason. But what are we taught to do? Oh, woe is me, my windshield's destroyed, this turkey tried to kill me. Or would we focus on all this stuff, and we talk about it nonstop, and we don't actually look at the fact that there's so much more to what just happened.
Yeah. So when you talk these things into a spiral, you put yourself into a limited vortex. And when you get captured into that vortex, then you are spinning and you're just going down, and you can't get out of it. But I have really embraced, started to really learn how to embrace like traffic and every obstacle. I'm always like, every time I scoot over, this crazy guy keeps blocking me, or, something keeps happening. And I'm like, man, the universe is going out of its way to slow me down. I better calm down. I better calm down. Something's going on. So let me just, whoa, what's happening? And so then I just decide, oh, I must need to turn the radio off. I must need to get quiet. Somebody's trying to send me a message,
Yeah.
That's
like, how much louder can I get?
Yeah. Right. I'm just like, oh, okay, let me just chill out. Something's happening. Let me just focus. What's going on? And then, when you start focusing, it's amazing what downloads you get. What kind of information comes out of nowhere. You're just like, oh, I have an idea. Oh, I need to call so-and-so. Mm-hmm. Then you call somebody and they're like, oh, I was just thinking about you. I need, I was wondering about whatever, something. And then you tell them, and they're like, you're talking about the pig in the fence or whatever, the woodwork, like there's something, all of a sudden, all of the pieces of the puzzle start to come together. And you're just like, I wouldn't have thought of that. I didn't know that was happening. But
again, that comes with clarity, right? And the patience to stop. They try to keep us busy. And of course, now we all have cell phones and we have all these things that we're on. And again, it's another way to try to keep us to where we're only focused on what they're feeding our information is, to stop that from happening. Can you imagine how it'd be amazing if everyone actually took the time to slow down and stopped and did these things? You guys, the assemblies would be unstoppable. We would be unstoppable. There is nothing then that they could do to continue to cloud us. Every time an assembly hits a roadblock and they're gossiping and they're fighting and they're getting mad at each other, you're totally allowing that to continue to feed in and bleed into what we're trying to create that's completely different. You can't be reactive. And if you are, why? What's going on in here? You know, do you need to have a heart to heart? Do you need to let that stuff out? Do you need to, I don't know, maybe you need to not eat bananas because you're in the wrong area, whatever that looks like to get you where you need to be, because something's going on and it's trying to stop you. When you're feeling that fight, it's because you actually have so much to offer, but you can't do it until you let all that go. And then it's just going to be crazy. It's going to take off like crazy. That's why I think it was amazing that I just saw this morning after I knew I was talking with you, this new olive branch healing that Anna's doing. I was like, how cool is that? Talk about energy. We were talking about doing this. I met with someone in my living room that's struggling yesterday. And then I see this thing for Anna. And I was like, okay, well, we're obviously all supposed to be headed this direction. So we all need to.
Anna and Tony and I have all been having this conversation, and we're studying all these different healing methods, and I'm working on one of them too. And so I put Tony's thing out yesterday, and then she mentioned it on her webinar last night. And I see Chad's mentioning it here, but I don't see it on Paul Streamer yet. So I don't know if my thing is like on delay or what, but like if she wrote something about it, I haven't seen it, but she did talk about it last night, but we have also been speaking about it. And she's addressing this as well. So the Olive Branch Healing Center is focusing on, the healing hands, the sound healing, and also something else. I forgot what the third one is, but I posted about it on my Telegram. If anybody wants to go from the show notes into the link, then you'll be able to read about it there as well and go to the website. Let me see if I can paste it here. And I can paste their, I'll see if I can paste it in here for everybody so that you can just go to the link. Here it goes. I just put it in the chat.
So people, resource, as we're talking about maybe taking pieces and breaking it down for people. So let's say people want to talk about clean eating only. We focus on just the eating part or whatever those look like, those resources, like what they're doing with that, what you guys are doing with that. And then we have a sound table at home. So there's the sound tables and the healing tables, whatever individual piece that looks like. If we can help people piece it together to get where they need to go, that's going to be huge, to connect all these dots, to start to heal as pure Americans again. That's so important, just as much as it is setting up our courts, just as much as doing whatever. Because if we set up courts and we don't have healed people working them, we're going to end up in the same place we were before. We are not going to move forward.
Absolutely. This is what it looks like, you guys. So it's called Global Olive Branch Healing. And it's a global healing initiative. You can request healing. Tony's talking about how it's endorsed by the fiduciary, Anna Maria Reisinger. And so y'all can just take a look at it. But it's talking about the 3 healing initiatives, the hearts to hand, healing for all, the whole tones music, getting back to the real tone of music, the atonement. And then the healing center that's built for all humanity and animals. And I think this is probably going to be one of the last things that comes online. But, it's all something that we're putting together. And it starts with changing your mind.
Yep.
Right, Jayme?
Definitely. It's interesting. It talks about tones of music, right? I was talking to Chad about this earlier. That goes down to, if you teach a child that has anxiety or is getting mad and anxious to stop in the moment and to hum. Did you know that the brain scientifically cannot continue in a thought loop or anxiety if it's humming? The two are like magnets. They repel each other. It cannot continue. This is why monks and all different things use those tones. Indians did everything about that, because the tone brings back to a healing point of vibration and it stops the negativity. That to me is my point. As simple as that. Teaching a child to hum in our classrooms or anywhere would help children move forward from being anxious, from ADHD medication, all these things, just learning, going back to the music that they've taken out, the tones that we no longer use, and teaching them even just to hum within their own mind and their soul.
I mean, that was the whole power of You know,
Right.
I remember when I was teaching the preschool and we needed to calm everybody down in the room. You just,
Yep.
everybody all of a sudden is like, and they calm down and they pay attention. But
It's
yeah,
awesome.
it's a real gentle way to get the attention of all the babies, you know. But that's why they do. They used to do that low horn. It was like a brass horn,
Mhm.
to or blow a shell. What do you call the conch horn? The conch.
The
When
big
you,
I can't even say it. Seashell.
the seashells.
10 times fast.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's how they would get everybody's attention and call everybody, you know, and have them get everybody's attention.
Mm-hmm.
But 100%, yeah. I'm really excited about all of these things. But everything goes back to our mind, friends. Like, you know, it's all goes back to mentalism. I mean, Jayme, what would have happened if you didn't decide that day that you didn't want to be on the floor anymore?
Well, girl, I don't know. It was bad. Obviously, work wouldn't have been an option. I probably would have lost my home. I was already, I was in a really bad custody battle with my kids.
Mm.
I'm not gonna lie, that time still has had some consequences. I had to go through some times with my children looking back, and they've come back around to see that I'm not the mom that I was, right? Because I was doing the best that I could with what I knew, and I didn't know a lot. And I definitely didn't know a lot about this. So there was still some healing and pain that we've had to come back around. But without it, I don't know if I would have had any kind of contact with my kids. I'm sure eventually they would have been taken because I was probably some mental basket case who was unfunctioning and didn't have a house and we were homeless. So that wouldn't have been good. And can you imagine if the CPS could come in and grab onto that? It would have been a total nightmare. It also is what led me into the path that led me to find Chad, which then brought us to the assembly. So yeah, I don't know where I would have ended up. It definitely wouldn't have been here. And then after being totally healed, as you all know, we had a baby last year. So we have a 1-year-old. She turns 1 this week. We're a combined family of 9. So ranging
Nice.
from 28 to 1. And it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful thing. And what I love now is not going back. I've chosen that path and staying that path and continuing that path. And my younger ones that I homeschool are going to benefit the most from it because what we're teaching them is completely something our other children never had the opportunity or chance to see.
Well, hopefully their observation of you doing this with the young ones, and you know, you can incorporate them in that, because if you invite them to come and be a part of that teaching, because they shouldn't feel any kind of way. They can also use this time to work with you to reparent themselves and have this experience with the younger ones, because it takes the whole village and they are part of that village, you know.
I do see that happening. We have an older son who came back and had gone through some stuff in life. He came back and he's totally on this healing, like Spartan races, all this amazing stuff. And he's doing that. And then my daughter, who's having a baby, just found out is having a baby also in November. She wants to do a water birth like I did and all this stuff. So we are seeing that slowly evolve with them as well as they stand back and watch it and see it. And it's been beautiful because my daughter even said, I can see now, Mom, why you were where you were and what happened. So
see? That's such a big deal. Oh my gosh.
Age, they start to see it and it makes sense. Yeah. Some of that doesn't come until they're old enough. You know
what? The fact that I mean, listen, what a gift it is that you're able to have that conversation instead of this festering nonsense that our parents would have maybe gone through with us or something dumb. You know, like for us, for you to be open enough, for her to feel comfortable enough to talk to you about it that way.
Well, the hardest part of the journey, besides the collapse, was 2 years of her not speaking to me. I went through an estrangement with my daughter that was probably, that will tell you of life, of all the things I've been through, was probably the hardest part. Yeah. But led to the deepest part of this journey I'm talking about, because that's where more of the time to journal and it really healed my emotional state and mental state, and going through and letting go that as an adult, she's responsible for herself and I'm not responsible for what she chooses. And some of those things that I can't hate myself forever because I made a mistake when she was 2 or whatever, or 6 or whatever. And now her and I have I won't even go back and trade that time. Even though it was the hardest, I wouldn't trade it for the world, because I would think that her and I now, and she'll tell you this too, are closer than we've ever been. And it's beautiful.
Imagine the teaching moments that you have with the examples that you can say, see where I was doing that. And, you know, because she's about to be a mom.
Yeah.
And now she can actually, you know, the fact that y'all can work together to make it bigger, better, stronger for the future. I mean, what a gift.
But if I didn't get off that wheel and I didn't find truth and I didn't go through what we're talking about, it would not have happened. My daughter still wouldn't be speaking to me. She wouldn't be
lies. These lies are so powerful.
Yeah.
They're so powerful. And we just got to stop it. We have to stop. You know, people only stay on this wheel out of fear. Oh my God, what will happen if I get off of the wheel?
What happens if you don't? That's what I want to know.
But I can't get off. How do you get off?
We can break it down. Any of us can help break it down.
Yeah. You got to get off the wheel.
Anyone that wants to know.
This hamster wheel sucks.
Yeah.
It really does. And I'm so thankful that I spun on it. I mean, it spun me around and spit me out too. Okay. And it was an experience. I guess I came here for that, right? We all came with our free will choice, and we arrived on this land and soil for an experience. I'm not really quite sure why I chose this one. Maybe because it's so amazing to conquer it and come out of it onto the other side and then be part of the shift. You know, maybe that's what it is. We're the anchors to help. You know, Anna said, you know, anchors away.
Right?
I love that article. Anchors away. Get those anchors out. And we got to get off the boat.
It doesn't mean the waters ain't going to be hard, but those waters would be real rough, and your blow up boat might sink, but you're going to come out on top and you're going to find a way, and you're going to be so thankful that you did.
Actually, you're going to find out you're on land. And when you get out, the hardest part is getting the boat back into the water off of your land, because you're just like, oh, I was in the boat on the land. That was dumb. You know, let me get out.
Here all along.
I could have just got out. I don't know what I was doing on there.
I have a friend who always tells me when we're on the struggle bus, she's like, get off the bus. Like, you're struggling, just step off the bus. It's not that hard. And that's what our mindset is. It really isn't. Talk about making your own reality. Are you choosing to make it more difficult? Are you focused on the trauma and the drama constantly, and you're just staying in that momentum? Step off of it.
Wait a minute, Jayme. Wait a second. Are you saying you get to create your own reality?
Hell yes, I do.
What?
I can choose my happiness. I can be responsible for anything I believe in the moment. That's why it's weird when let's put 2 children. 3 children can grow up in the same house and completely leave with a different idea of what their whole growing up was. But that's their chosen reality and their own perception, which builds into a belief system that they live their life thinking is real.
And it's just this wheel. They all make their own fake wheel. It's not even real.
There's always that one kid. My favorite trip, and the kid's like, that was my worst trip ever. Like, it's always the one. There's always one.
Hey, just like everybody doesn't like the same scrambled eggs. I'm always coming back to the scrambled eggs. Everybody has a different way they like them.
Yep.
Everybody does. And it's fine. All of them are good. As long as you make them and I don't have to get up and learn how to make all of them different ones. Look,
Right?
self-govern. Go make your eggs the way you like them. But it's this wheel. We're gonna have to make a better wheel.
Yeah, we can create a good one.
Jayme said she's gonna help me make this better. I have all these different ideas that I draw out on paper, but then I did get one made into a shirt. So I want a shirt with the wheel too. That'll be good. My
Perfect. I'll
kids
get
are
the
always
graphic.
they're always laughing at me. They're like, "Mom, are you trying to teach on a shirt?"
You're like, I am.
That's right. I create my own reality too. It's called teaching shirts. But well, when I'm going to go somewhere, I might as well wear something that's going to help me create some good conversation, right? I mean, I got to give them a visual, and 99 times you don't want me to draw it every time. So,
That'd be
Jayme,
awesome.
we are almost getting to an hour. I want to respect your time, and I want you to want to come back and
I would
talk
love
to me
to come
again. I want to talk with you more, and I want us to break some more things down because
Okay.
there's a lot more to talk about, and I really want you to know how much it means to me that you're willing to share your time and your family with us, because that is a huge example and a lesson and a gift for everyone. And so thank you for doing that.
You're so welcome.
And I love your energy, and I hope that whatever we're talking about here, you guys out there are able to jive with it. You can appreciate it. Leave us some comments of some ideas of some things that you are maybe confused about or you would like to know more about. So that Jayme and I can come back and tell you some of the things that we do know about it already, or some of our experiences. Make sure you check that link out and check out the Olive Branch Healing. I know that I have a vision of a healing center that I've been wanting, that's been on my heart, that I've wanted to create over here for a long time. It's a big physical space that we've actually been shopping for land for. Jayme, I think you guys have an amazing thing going on that you and Chad are doing. I'm just so excited and so happy for you and Chad. And I think a lot of people out there would be able to find their joy if they haven't already, just like that. I know that I don't know. I feel like I've been meeting a lot of people since 2020 where a whole lot of families are falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
And the corporatocracy did that, y'all.
They feed it. They feed it too. They tell you to cut people off. They tell you to own your own truth and walk away from everything else you know.
And there's no your own truth. Okay. There is the truth.
Yep.
And there is the lie. Okay. That's
Yep.
all it is. And so don't let them make you confused with this nonsense. Okay. And you have to be honest with yourself first. And I bet, Jayme, when you started to be really honest with yourself, is how you attracted another honest somebody. Because you can't attract honesty with chaos.
No. You sure can bring out a whole lot of chaos with chaos.
You can.
That's true.
I mean, everything starts right here. If you put your hand over your heart and you just can hold yourself and be honest, I think none of us came here lightly.
No.
But we're here. And you need to just know that you're important and you matter and you were born worthy beyond belief. And I really hope that you will love yourself enough to be honest, because we can't be honest for you.
That's so true.
We can just be with you. We can just be beside you.
And being honest with yourself isn't pretty. It's not. It's not going to be easy and pretty. But I'm willing to help any one of you through it because it is worth every step to get there.
So when you come back for the shows with me and Jayme, bring back the things that you guys want to talk about like that. You can be honest in the chat with all of us, and we can all do this together as a group.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start doing some challenges for each other, because I think that's what we need. We need some momentum for all of us, So maybe there's some ideas that we'll get from the comments that people give us, Jayme. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to help people, excited to see what they need. I know it wasn't easy for me. I had to really go out there and try to figure out what this was going to look like. I had no idea. But once I wanted it, it came together, and now I can help others make those steps too.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't help anybody while you're still healing and helping yourself so much. You have nothing to give.
No, you don't.
But you have to get it together, and then you can work on helping and healing others. Chad's like, what are any last minute suggestions for people to start doing? I'm going to give one and you give one. Okay, Jayme?
Okay.
Is that good? You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay. My suggestion is I would love for people to wake up in the morning, and before you ever touch your phone or any electronic item, and I really want to encourage people, maybe this could be the first challenge. We keep our phones in the kitchen at our house because that way it's not in the bedroom. And so we have like old fashioned alarm clocks in our bedroom for the people that need alarm clocks. And we put our phones in the kitchen to charge for the morning. And that way you have to go through a whole lot of things before you can get to the kitchen. And if the only thing you do is when you get up in the morning, if you can put your hands over your heart and just be appreciative for the new dawning, and then just think about what exciting thing you want to do today, or say, hey, I don't know what's going to happen today. Universe, tell me, what is the good thing I should do today? And it's probably better at that moment, before you touch the phone, to go outside and just look at the sun. Even if you can't see it, look at the sky, the naked sky with your naked eyes. And just stand out there with your flat feet on the ground, hopefully maybe barefoot if you can do it, or with no plastic between your foot and the ground. And just stand there for 1 minute. If you can, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, okay? And I bet, well, I would like to know what happens to you, but for me, I get a jolt. And all of a sudden, I get a download of things. And I can't even, it's amazing. I'll get a download of an assignment. I'll get a whole assignment list. And I might not get 2 or 3 things done on it from that day, but those were divine assignments that I received, that I worked on. But if my phone gets in the way before that, it's really difficult to get that divine assignment. So that's my suggestion. What about you, Jayme?
I'm going to piggyback off that. And I challenge you to do what she's saying with what I'm going to suggest, and give yourself 5 days, 30, whatever. Because the first time you'd be like, oh, I didn't feel anything, you may not do it. You need to be consistent. Give it 10 days. Give yourself a little bit of time and see how you feel different. I'm going to tell you to live in the now, like I mentioned it to you. When you're eating, I want you to actually chew and think and taste what you're doing. Smell what's around you. Don't be on your phone. Don't be doing this. Don't watch TV. Actually eat your food. I want you to do what the book told me to do. Go up and down your steps when you're going upstairs. I want you to feel every footstep along the way. When you're in the shower, someone else told me the same thing. So let's say you always wash your hair first. Wash your hair last. You need to wash your feet first. Mix it up. Don't do the same thing. You're in such a pattern of habitual habits. You're totally missing something that could totally ironically happen. Like, mix it up. Maybe when your coffee in the morning, you put the grounds in first, then the water. Do it the backwards. I don't know. Mix it up. If you're in the moment mixing it up, you have to be focused on what you're doing. And it's going to bring a totally different energy to what you're doing. When you're talking to your spouse and your kids, are you actually in that moment, or are you thinking past what they're saying? Are you thinking about dinner? Are you thinking about your next question? Are you really in the moment listening to what that child or that person is actually saying to you? Be in the moment. When you start to get anxious, stop for a minute. Be what's in right now. Does that really have to be in this very moment? I suggest you do that on top of what she's doing. And I bet you over the next 30 days, you're going to already start to see a shift in what we're talking about.
I love it. I love what Jayme said, especially the eating thing. There is my biggest pet peeve when people eat and they're trying to do 10 other things. Like, come on, just
What does your body
eat.
need to do with it? What does your body need to do with it if it doesn't know what to do with it?
You know what they actually say is you should sit on the floor and eat because it is better for your digestion. But that could be a whole nother show. But let's just start with what Jayme said, because I love what you just challenged them with, because finding what it feels like to be in the now is probably one of the hardest things for most people to do.
It is.
So
But it'll
that's a
shift
good-
everything. It really
It'll
will.
change everything.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jayme, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It was
Well,
great.
Hopefully you're going to come back and we're going to
I
do
will.
this again.
I will.
And you guys, I don't know what our schedule is going to be exactly, but just keep an eye out because we'll figure it out. Me and Jayme will work it out. And I'll try to, what I think I'll do, Jayme, is try to preset it so that people
Okay.
will know who's coming,
Okay.
because I think that'll be the way to go. But I really appreciate everyone out there. Thank you so much for joining us today. And hey, don't forget to leave us some notes in the comments, especially everybody in the replay, and let us know what you're interested in learning more about. Okay?
Sounds great.
Thank you.